watching The Press Row. I'm Mike Sherman here with the Oklahoman columnists Jenny Carlson, John Rohde, and Barry Trammell, and we're discussing why the Oklahoma Sooners don't love Lubbock as much as Barry does. First, the Sooners, who play Texas Tech Saturday in the land of wide streets. Barry, OU has lost 2 straight in Lubbock, but what impact did those 2 losses have? 07 and 05. Didn't they happen under extenuating circumstances that really don't apply much Saturday?
Well, I mean, there were extenuating circumstances, but that's like watching Twilight Zone and saying, no, there were extenuating circumstances. Extenuating circumstances is what happens in Lubbock. It's a funny place. It's a strange place. It's unlike any place else you go. Crazy things happen. Sam Bradford tries to be a linebacker. The video system can't see past its nose. Strange things happen, and no reason to think strange things won't keep happening Saturday.
It is a twilight zone for the Sooners a little bit. I mean, this is a game that if Texas Tech were coming to Norman again, I would say Sooners easy. Now, on Saturday, going to Lubbock, I don't know. I haven't made my pick yet, and I'm not sure what I'm going to say. But I do think that going to Lubbock for whatever reason has become a problem for this team. And John, I don't know. I think it's a little up in the air this year.
Well, last time OU went to Lubbock, I think Halsey had like 5 career snaps, and that includes practice. Obviously, Landry Jones has had far more snaps this year, so it's not the same position, different circumstances.
Well, in that game, Joey Halsey played pretty well in the second half of that game. I remember that game being more of a defensive problem for the Sooners, especially early. But here the Sooners come in with a snaggletooth or just a ferocious defense, and Tech's offense, the 3-headed quarterback plan, doesn't seem to be working. It doesn't seem to be, as perilous as previous trips to Lubbock in that way.
Well, I mean, yeah, Tech's defense is much better though, and Oklahoma's the whole matchup is turned around. It's been an offensive game for several years. Last year, Sooners ended up routing them, and defense played great. But both teams build with these great offenses. This year, both teams are actually better on defense than they are offense. Might be the first time we can say that about a Mike Leach team, that his defense is better than his offense.
Barry, you and I saw Tech on Saturday at OSU. The quarterbacks, to me, it was just really surprising that they didn't have better quarterback play. I mean, maybe we just got accustomed to Mike Leach being able to every year bring in another senior who'd been waiting in the wings, and he just comes out and plays well. But these 2 guys that they're using, Steven Sheffield and Taylor Potts, decent, but not great. They don't have sort of that mojo of Tech quarterbacks of the past. I think Oklahoma's defense could really have a heyday against these guys on Saturday.
What I've noticed about Texas Tech, it's either feast or famine. When they're on a roll, watch out. When they're either fighting amongst themselves or don't know which quarterback to start or those kind of – I don't even know how many fans will be there on Saturday, Barry. I don't know if the place will be full. I know it's OU, but OU's down, and Tech certainly is not on a roll.
We're talking about how Tech has lost its quarterback mojo. Another story is sort of whatever happened to Sooner Magic. The comeback abilities of OU have sort of disappeared. We haven't seen them in a long, long time. Barry, when's the last time you actually remember, that's Sooner Magic?
I actually saw, people might not agree with this, I saw a little bit of Sooner Magic on one of the darkest days of OU's recent history, and that was the Boise State Fiesta Bowl. That was a game where Sooners seemed to beat. They were down 11 points. Paul Thompson engineers a very good comeback, gets them into a tie game. Marcus Walker, in the last minute of the game, runs an interception back, puts OU in the lead. It's going to go down as one of the great defensive plays in OU history. And then the game began. So Sooner Magic reared its head, then it went away. But I think there for a little bit it was with us. Now, what's happened is the Stoops era is a little bit like the Troy Aikman era at Dallas. Troy used to get criticized for not producing any comebacks. Well, the truth was they were ahead so much, he just had to hand the ball to Emmitt Smith in the fourth quarter. A little bit of that is with Stoops. He's been ahead of so many games. The comebacks have not been as readily available. But when they have been needed to come back, they haven't done it.
When you talk about that Boise State game, I'm trying to think of the guys that were in that game, guys. Not a one of them is still a Sooner. The guys that popped to mind making plays in that game, that was a long time ago. I think part of it is what Barry said, that there are sort of those route games, but at the same time, when you don't have a great kicker, you sort of lose that aspect of maybe making a last-second kick. So I think that's one of the elements that you throw in there. And, this team just isn't as good, too. When you talk about the magic in specific to this team, good teams tend to make their own magic. And this team, it's just a so-so team. So I can see why they have struggled there.
You know what? I'm glad you brought up the kicking because I think there is a little bit of curse going on here. Because OU did have a good kicker not so long ago. He made the NFL, Garrett Hartley. Everybody remembers the Oregon debacle. But OU got back into position at the end of that game to win it on a field goal, and it gets blocked on the last play of the game. Sooners have lost the magic.
Well, the last bit of magic I remember, and there's probably been some since, was it 2002 Alabama at OU?
Yeah, the shovel passes.
And ironically, the magic were 2 shovel passes to Ronaldo Works, I believe. And one thing's for sure, if there's going to be magic this year, it's going to have to come with a pick six or a fumble recovery because I don't see it happening on offense.
So we're talking about things lost. Finally, let's talk about love lost. Barry, I'm hearing that you're all out of love for Lubbock. What has happened?
I still love the city of Lubbock, but I got to tell you, Lubbock Chamber of Commerce, your hotels are gouging prices on football weekends. It's reached a critical point. We're not even staying in Lubbock. We're going to go up to Plainview, stay in Plainview. I think there's about 10 Oklahoma media people staying in Plainview. You better get a hold of yourself there in Lubbock because you've lost a fan.
You're still going to eat at Kegel's, though, aren't you?
No, we're not going to go spend our money in Lubbock if they're going to try to gouge us.
This is shocking.
Not going to happen.
This is shocking.
We need the breakup song to play as we roll out, but this is all for the press row. But to keep up with the best OU coverage anywhere, you can go to News OK right now, where you can read Jenny Carlson's column on how an up-and-coming Sooner football player is coping with a debilitating illness, and then pick up Saturday's Oklahoma and read Barry's column on why the Sooners struggle on the road.